Hello, my name is Dr. Professor Adabisi of Ontario University. Hello, welcome to my segment on supply and demand, one of the basic principles of economics. I am one of the leading doctor professors at the University of Ontario in economics. I know every type of economics you want to know. I've written it all in my book, Economics. Gift. It's really expensive. So let us begin with supply and demand. Alright. Demand, the consumer's want for a good or service. And supply, the amount of product or service the producer is willing to sell. This is a basic key principle in economics. Everything kind of stems from it, like the, the, the whole thing. The whole thing, yep. Yep. The law of demand. As the price of a good increases, the quantity of demand will decrease, and vice versa. This this makes more sense while looking at a graph. Now that you know the law of demand, let's talk about the law of supply. The law of supply states that as a price increases, the quantity supplied will also increase, and vice versa. Vice versa. I will show you on a graph. The next bit will be demand versus quantity demanded. Demand is the consumer's want, again, for a good or service. However, quantity demanded is the number of units of a good is demanded. These two are very confused in economics, and don't make that mistake. Be better than that. Alright. Demand shifters change the demand or want for a product without changing the price of the good, which is very, very important. Some demand shifters are the number of consumers. If the number of buyers increase, then the demand of the product will increase. If the number of buyers decrease, the demand of the product will decrease. So it just makes more sense. Like it makes sense. Like if there's lots of like people buying the product, then the demand is really high. But if there's not, demand is low. See, simple. Economics is simple. It's simple. All right. There's income. Normal good is a good where demand increases as income increases. If consumers have more money to spend, they will buy more of a normal good. So this is important that this applies only to normal goods. There's income for inferior goods. An inferior good is a good where the demand increases as the income decreases. So as you're making less money, the demand for this product goes up. If consumers have less money to spend, they will buy less of an inferior good. So like examples like ramen. So it's like if I stopped being a doctor professor like I am at the University of Ontario, then I would have to buy a lot more crappy food to supplement myself. So, you know, and compliments. Compliments are goods that are often together, such as peanut butter and jelly. Like if you eat just peanut butter, you're gross. That is gross. And if the price of one goes up, the demand for the other goes down. So if peanut butter became $500, like jelly wouldn't really, nobody would really eat jelly. Like I mean, like if you eat jelly alone, you're gross too. So and then there are also substitutes. Substitutes are goods that can easily be exchanged for one another. The benefit to the consumer is that they're the same like good essentially. So if the price of one goes up, the demand for the other will go up. So then let's say I'm a Coca-Cola fanatic and I love Coca-Cola. If Coca-Cola becomes $500, let's say, well, I'm not gonna drink Coca-Cola because it's not that good. And it's like I'm gonna go buy some Pepsi. Just saying, tastes the same. Tastes the same to me. All right. There's also change in consumer preferences. Changes in what products are preferred by consumers is always changing. Consumers start to prefer a new product, the demand of it will rise. So basically, like fads, basically. So then it's like, like maybe you can say like, back in the day, everybody wants some Heelys, but you wear Heelys now, somebody will throw a rock under your shoe and you'll go flying and whatnot, and it's bad. Or you can say things like cigarettes, like back in the day, cigarettes were like highly smoked, like everybody smoked them, but it's like now it's like you're smoking cigarettes, like what is wrong with you? You know, it's pretty interesting. You know, changes in consumer preferences they definitely affect a lot of things. I know that since I am a doctor professor. Supply shifters change how much firms are willing to produce without the market selling price changing. Interesting. Yes. All right. One of them is the number of producers. So supply is how much some there is of like something. So then if I'm the only like business, let's say making bread, and I'm like the single supplier of bread, there's gonna be like that amount of bread. However, if there's another business that starts making bread, then there's gonna be more supply of bread. So think of it in that way. Technology. If this bread was being made by hand, it would take a very long time. Like you'd have to like maybe order it in like a week, and like it'd be delicious, but still it would take a long time. And you could switch to technology. Technology is a shifter because you can produce more. So then, if you have better technology on more like easier terms, like you make more of the product. And the prices of resources is definitely important because if maybe the wheat that I was buying it from the farmer increases like a whole bunch, like I couldn't buy as much like bread without. But see, this is without the price changing because you could say, oh, like you could just charge more on the bread, but I wouldn't be able to make as much bread because most of my money would be going there. So then that would make like the the supply would decrease, and there would be less bread because the resource to make the bread got more expensive. And taxes and subsidies. If the production of a good is taxed, the supply of it will decrease. If the production of the good is subsidized, the supply of it will increase. Makes sense, you know. So if the government is paying me to make this like good, if the government is paying me to make this bread, which it should, you know, like Obama, come on, man. If you're black, I'm black. No, I'm just kidding. Um, if the production is paid by the government, then I'm gonna have more money to use for like making this. However, if it's taxed, like let's say cigarettes, then the supply of it will decrease because I have to like account for tax and everything. So, um, there's also expectation of consumer preferences. If producers expect a certain good to become less popular, the supply of the good will decrease. If producers expect a certain good to become popular, the supply of the good will increase. So if I'm the head, I'm the doctor professor of the bread company, and I expect that people will stop eating bread like in the next week, like which wouldn't happen. Then I would stop making so much bread because it doesn't make sense for me to keep pushing out bread that people aren't going to eat. However, if I was the doctor professor of the bread firm, which I am, then if I knew that bread was going to be really popular the next week because everybody, like Nutella was giving out free Nutella for everybody, then I would like make more, you know, like I would supply more because I'd be like, ooh, like I can make money off this. Like everybody loves Nutella, they can eat it with the bread and it's a happy party all the time. And the prices of other producible goods. Firms can often produce multiple goods. If the price of one possible good increases, firms could choose to go to produce like that good that will earn them more money. So then I'm selling bread, you know, and then I realize that the real money in an industry is selling batteries. Well, I'm just gonna be like, well, screw it. I'm gonna sell batteries. Like I'm just gonna like switch everything over and I'm gonna make batteries. So then, since I know batteries are what's making me money, I'm gonna make lots of batteries because I'm gonna be like, ooh, I'm gonna make money, you know, be rich, like so. That will increase the supply of that good. Equilibrium. This is the point where the supply curve and the demand curve intersect to make the equilibrium point. The point determines the market price, the quantity demanded and supplied. This is very important in economics because every basically graph you make with supply and demand, there will be an equilibrium point, and the shifters will determine where that equilibrium point will be. If it decreases it, then like the point will be either moved up or down depending on what is being decreased. Important. Yes. The last topic that I, Dr. Professor Henry Adebisi, will be talking about is elasticity of demand. How much your demand for a good or service varies based on the price. There are two types of elasticity for demand: elastic and inelastic. If a product is very elastic to you, then if the price were to go up, you probably wouldn't get it. However, if the demand for that product is inelastic, you probably end up getting it because you need it. So, for example, an elastic product for me would be like something like cigarettes. I don't smoke, so if the price went up, it wouldn't concern me, or like I just wouldn't buy them because they're bad. Like, and they're just bad. Okay. However, for inelastic, let's say I had diabetes and I needed insulin shots, then I would, if the price of those went up, I would still have to buy the insulin shots or I would die. It's very inelastic to me. So maybe think of inelastic things as something that's very concrete and strong. Like you need, you must, no matter the price. However, elastic, just think of something on a dangly little string that's ready to cut off the moment it raises up like 10 cents because you're like, yeah, to heck with it anyway. I hoped you walked away watching this video learning something about economics. And I hope that in the future you will pursue becoming a doctor professor in economics like me too. I'm Henry Adebisi from the University of Ontario signing out. Peace!